The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff by Byron Broussard. The Day Billy Fell Off the Cliff, Part 16. Billy, Jessica, and me watched as the flaming woman stood up and opened the door to the office room. Her intuition rushed out, smiling and waving. Me mimicked his enthusiasm by returning the smile and waves. "Hello," they both said. "It's a pleasure to finally meet you," they said in identical, toneless voices. "This is weird," Jessica said in a whisper. "I did it," the flaming woman said. She looked excited and her intuition smiled at her. Her intuition stepped forward. "Her name is Lisa. I am Mr. Intuition. Lisa wants to call me Lee," Lee said in a toneless voice. "We look the same, me." "What the fuck, Lee? We had a thing going where they didn't know who I was, and now you ruined it without even asking me." Lisa towered over Lee. Lee showed his palms to her and moved out from under her. "How are we different, me?" Lee asked me. Me looked at Billy, then back to Lee. "Before this, I was Billy on Earth, while before this, you were Lisa on Earth," me answered. Billy looked at Lisa. "You think our Earth lives have something to do with this? You think you two have something to do with each other?" "Who were you before you were me?" Billy asked, baffled. "Who were you before you were you, Billy?" "Who were you before you were Billy?" me asked. They are cheeky little bastards, aren't they?" Lisa said. "One question at a time," Jessica whispered. "One question at a time," she said louder and defiant. They all glanced at her before resuming their meeting. "Was I me before I was Billy, or do I become me after?" Billy asked me. Lisa glared at Billy. "You two exist at the same time, like me and Lisa," Lee answered Billy. "For two things to exist at the same time as separate and also one, those two things would have to be parts of the whole," me added, looking at Lee. "Us two exist at the same time, in the same star," Lee said to me. "How the fuck does time even work here?" Jessica blurted out. "First, there is no time, and now there is time, but it's running duplicates and shit." Jessica looked at Billy and Lisa with wide eyes. Billy nodded and looked to me and Lee. "Explain time," Billy said to the intuitions. Me and Lee stepped back and an image of a sphere appeared between them. The sphere hovered in the doorway. "More points in spheres?" Billy asked. "Yes," me said in a toneless voice. "First, duplicates," Lee said in the same toneless voice. "Time is relative to you and your awareness. Not only you, but relative to every awareness that can understand the concept of you," me said. "Like second person," Lisa said in half question, half declaration. "The royal you," Lee said, raising his Vantablack arms. Billy sighed. "Time is relative to the royal you," me continued. "Your frequency is inside of time. Time itself is inside of locations. The image of the sphere shows a smaller sphere inside and a point inside of the smaller sphere. The point is your frequency," Lee said, looking at Lisa. "The small sphere is time, and the big one is location. The same for intuition, myself, and my surroundings and the possibility limits. Me is my frequency, I am time, and the location is my surroundings," Billy said. "Correct," me said, raising her Vantablack arms. The image of the spheres began to move in an orbital pattern led by the smaller sphere. The spheres circled each other in a volatile manner. This is how time works for the royal you in low frequency. As frequency and awareness rise, the pattern becomes more balanced," me said in her toneless voice. The image of the sphere slowed down and began to be led by the point in the smaller sphere. As your awareness and frequency rise from there, the pattern becomes interchangeable, Lee said in his toneless voice. The image of the spheres began to get smaller in a zoom-out fashion to reveal a larger sphere around the outer and the smaller sphere becoming the point. The spheres began to get smaller in a zoom-out fashion to reveal a large sphere around the outer and the smaller sphere becoming the point. The spheres cycled faster then slowed down in reverse. They became bigger until the point became the smaller sphere and the smaller sphere became the large sphere. The spheres cycled faster then stopped. So, time is like a barrier between my frequency and my location, like I am the barrier between you and my surroundings, Billy said, looking at me. Also, location and frequency are interchangeable as the smallest and largest part. So, in your equation of intuition, self, and surroundings, you're inside me, Lisa said, looking from Billy and me to Lee. Me, Lee? What the fuck does that mean? How does this connect with the idea of duplicates in the star? Jessica glared at Billy and Lisa. Did you just know this shit and not say anything till now? Me hugged Jessica. One question at a time, Jessica, me said. The connection comes in past the limits. Past the limits? Billy said inside his own head. My royal you is centered around me or time, but I brought me out, making us two parts of a whole. Jessica's image crossed her arms. In theory, we've made time our frequency. The smaller sphere and the large point combined to make a new point, Lisa said with her eyes closed, making the surrounding location the new sphere of time. The location is now us, Billy said, sounding amazed. Well, what are we surrounded in now? Lisa asked aloud to no one and everyone. The astral plane, me and Lee said together in their toneless voice.